UFC 2026 champions prediction list. Let's get straight into it. Flyweight, I should say, sorry. I think it's fairly obvious who I'm going to go with and who a lot of people are going to go with on this one. I'm going with Alexandre Pantoja. Pantoja has been on an absolute tear in the division. Coming off that good submission win against Kaya Sakura. He's beaten the who's who, man. He's beaten the Royvals, he's beaten the Morenos, he's beaten the Kai Kara France. The only kind of matchup I feel that's possibly left for him is a rematch with Figueiredo. But I don't know if Figueiredo is ever going to come back to the division, to be quite honest with you. And if Figueiredo was beating him, so he has that mental edge over him. The rest of the fighters in that division, I really don't see fucking shit for Pantoja, to be honest with you. And a lot of people are saying, oh, DJ is going to come back and DJ should come back. DJ shouldn't come back. Okay, DJ's retired. When's the last time he fought in the UFC? 2018? 2019 maybe? It's fucking years ago. Okay? And it's time Pantoja starts to possibly think about moving up. Okay? Because he's clearly better than every single person in his division. And, Kai Kara France, maybe he'll be in the next fight. Who knows? Royval and Manuel Cape are fighting soon. So there's still a few fights to be figured out within that division. But I think Pantoja is a safe bet. I predicted him to be champion last year as well. He's very good, man. He's very fucking good. One of the pound for pound best fighters in the world at the moment. So I really don't see anyone having anything for him. The only person I thought that could beat him was Brandon Moreno. Moreno tooth and fucking nail in their last fight. What a scrap that was. But I don't see it, man. I don't see Pantoja losing. I think he's too well rounded pretty much everywhere for everyone in that division. I think he's an absolute beast on the ground. He does have a little bit of a kind of lacking in the striking knowledge, in the defense specifically. Steve Ercik went in there and showed that. Steve Ercik, that was kind of his first fight really ever in the big leagues, thrown into it, not short notice, but relatively short notice in Brazil. And he fucking worked him on the feet. Do you know what I mean? Pantoja does this thing where he kind of hits to the body. And that's a recipe for disaster against some fighters. So stuff he definitely still has to work on, especially if he's going to move up when I'm kind of fight like the Sanhagens or the O'Malley's or the Yans and stuff like that. People that will capitalize on that, because the boxing difference between 125 and 135 is insane. It's absolutely insane. It's a different kettle of fish, and we'll see what's next for Pantoja though. I do think he'll probably fight Kai Kara France. If not, he'll probably have to sit out and wait and see what fights happen. The Royval Cape winner could be next. The winner of that could even fight Kai Kara France, especially if it's Manuel Cape. So yeah, we'll see what's next. Next up, bantamweight, Umar Nurmagomedov. He's going to be fighting Merab in less than 3 weeks now, which is insane to think. And Umar is going to go in there and shut him down. He's going to go in and shut him down. I think the Nurmagomedovs are so good at up against the cage work. That's where they do their best work. If you look at the way Khabib does his takedowns and Islam does his takedowns, it's all up against the cage. And Merab loves to fight that way as well. It's not really going to work. It's not really going to work when you're fighting someone like Umar who's got such high level in that area. And that's why I'm really confident in Umar. And the fact that he beat Sanhagen in the striking and also had kind of wrestling success as well, it fills me with confidence to think that he's going to be able to just reverse Merab. And let's say he gets through Merab. Who's really beating this guy? Yan? I've seen a few people say that Yan has a better chance of beating Umar than Merab. I don't really see it. Now, Merab definitely has a chance to win that fight. We still have to kind of see how things play out. This is like Islam versus Charles. I said this in my last video. It's exactly like that. If he goes in there and smokes him, that's another division just ruined. No one's going to beat that guy. But if it's a close competitive fight and there's holes there, you could see someone like a Yang come in there with improved wrestling defense and kind of light him up on the feet. Or you could even see O'Malley kind of catch him with something like that. If there is looping holes somewhere that we see in the Merab fight. But if there isn't, then goodbye bantamweight. But yeah, Umar, look, he looked incredible against Corey Sanhagen. And Corey's one of the most well-rounded fighters in that division. I just think Umar is going to be able to finish on top in this fight. And you know how these fighters work. Umar will win this fight. If he beats Merab, then he won't fight until October in Abu Dhabi. Once, twice a year does these guys, and that's why they're able to hold the belt for so long. So yeah, I'm going with Umar on this one. I think he's extremely well-rounded. I think you have to have one specific area to beat this guy. And I don't really see Merab having that. The one specific area I feel has to be a danger, like KO power, like a Sean O'Malley. Merab doesn't have absolutely no KO power in this fucking world. And he's not going to be able to do shit, man. He's not going to be able to do shit. And I actually can't wait to see Umar go in there and to shut this guy down. I can't wait. Because Merab's the thorn in the side of the UFC's divisions. And it's going to be great. It's going to be great. But yeah, I'm going Umar on that one. Next up, I was kind of 50-50 on this one simply because I didn't know what was going to happen with this division. But I'm going Ilya to stay in featherweight. I think Ilya will stay in featherweight. The only reason I'm 50-50 is because I didn't know if he was going to move up permanently. He said, the weight cut's going to struggle and stuff like that. But I don't see Ilya going anywhere, to be honest with you. The fella's only got one title defense as well. And realistically, he's only got two good wins. So if he was to dip from the featherweight division now, that would be a complete shame because, well, not two good wins. Like Bryce Mitchell, Josh Emmett, they were decent wins, but Max Holloway and Volkanovski, they're incredible wins. And if he was to walk away from the featherweight division now, I think he'd be walking away from potential to be one of the greatest of all time in that division. And I know he beat Volk and I know he beat Max, but 2 wins isn't enough to put you in that kind of conversation just yet. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he needs more, especially since a lot of people are like, well, Volk got knocked out like a few weeks, even 12 weeks prior to that. You know what I'm saying? And Max came down 55. There is that kind of a conversation to be had, but still he beat them and he knocked them both out. But I still think you can't just for Ilya, I don't think having those two wins is enough to really cement himself as he's not above Max or Volk in the GOAT conversation of featherweight with 2 wins. And it's simple as that. Do you know what I mean? McGregor's higher on the featherweight GOAT list than Ilya. He needs more work, man. He needs to take out the Diego Lopez's, the Movsarevs, the Arnold Allens. He needs to be, these kind of names need to be on that resume. So he needs to clean out the division, okay? You've cleaned out the 2 GOATs, but you still have all these contenders that you need to face. And I just hope he sticks around to face them, because that'd be fucking shit if he just went up, to be honest with you. I don't know if he'd beat Islam. I don't think he beats Islam. I think there's good fights for him at lightweight that are really competitive. Do you know what I'm saying? I'd be very interested to see if the power Ilya has transitions up to lightweight, because we see it with McGregor when he moved up. The power wasn't quite the same. Would that be the same with Ilya? He definitely still would have massive power, but I wonder, are some of these guys with insane chins, are they going to be able to withstand it and be able to kind of power over Ilya? It's a conversation to be had. Very interesting to see what happens with him. Very interesting. One of the talking points of the sport now, this guy is with the levels that he's picked up over the past year, and I just want to see the guy fight more, man. I just want to see the guy fight more, and he's a serious problem for anyone that he faces, and it's gonna take something special to beat this guy. But I still don't think he beats Islam. I think Charles Oliveira, that top fight's being talked about. I think Charles could beat Ilya. Like, I feel like if you're gonna beat Ilya, like, if I was to bet on that fight, I don't know which way it'd go. Like, Charles is so kind of, he could get knocked out in that fight, but I feel like if you're gonna beat Ilya, you need to do what like fucking Jai Herbert did and just go in there and throw a bunch of shit. And Charles is gonna do that and see what lands. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see with Ilya, but if he sticks around that featherweight, make no mistake about it, like, there's no one that's beating this guy at featherweight, So maybe lightweight is the move, but I want to see him stick around at featherweight to clean out that division and really build himself as a featherweight GOAT. I personally cannot sit here and say you're a featherweight GOAT with 2 good wins on your resume. That's just how it is for me. Next up, speaking of the devil, we have Islam Makhachev. Few weeks time now, this could go out the window, but I'm going with Islam to beat Arman. I actually rewatched Arman versus Charles, and I actually do think Arman won that fight. When I first saw it, I thought Charles. Rewatched it, gave it to Arman then. Good competitive fight. Still don't think he's going to beat Islam, okay, because I rewatched a few of Islam's fights. The Poirier fight's a talking point for sure. It's a conversation to be had. He definitely, looking back at that fight, had moments on the grappling, but Poirier did very well to takedown defense, which, you know, he is incredible takedown defense. You look at every fight, bar the Khabib fight, the dude doesn't get taken, like, held down, and has got really good boxing, and Islam outboxed him and still finished him. So, you know, that really says that for me, to be honest with you. And I just think Makhachev, if he gets through Arman Tsarukyan, I feel like Arman Tsarukyan's his hardest fight in the whole division, and I'd be very curious to see who's going to be next, kind of how the landscape of the division is going to go. They could do the Charles Oliveira rematch, which, you know, we'll see what the division's like come October, because that's probably when he's going to fight in Abu Dhabi. We'll see what it's like, and if Charles is the man to take it, you know, you can go from there. But you have Moicano versus Dariush on the same card. That could lead to things, especially if Moicano wins. Paddy Pimblett is up there. Maybe he's going to fight, you know, maybe like a Dan Hooker or Fiziev or someone like that. Gamrot, Chandler, but I saw some that the Chandler fight was off. It could be one of them. You know, if Pimblett wins, I look at Sean O'Malley, yeah, and they gave Sean O'Malley Peter Yan off a no contest against Pedro Munoz. Don't think they won't give Paddy Pimblett a title shot, okay, if he beats someone like a Dan Hooker or a Michael Chandler. Very possible. But who knows? Yeah, I just think Islam's going to be too dominant. And I think he's gonna get through Arman Tsarukyan, and then we'll kind of see the landscape of the division and see what kind of fight's going to play out. I wouldn't mind seeing a Charles rematch, but I feel like it has to be right. Maybe Charles needs one more. You know, he definitely looked very good with that wrestling against Michael Chandler. Something we kind of never seen before is Charles holding people down, straight wrestling. So that's good to see. I still think Charles is so dangerous everywhere, so he's going to be a problem for everyone in every fight. So, but still, Islam went in there and fucking smoked him in his last fight. So it's hard not to pick Islam in fights, in my opinion. And we'll see what his performance against Arman Tsarukyan's like now in a few weeks. But yeah, I'm going Islam Makhachev to finish the year as lightweight champion. Welterweight, I was kind of debating this one for a while, but I am going with Shavkat Rakhmonov. Okay, I fucking trust him to fight Bilal, because Bilal's going to be a different style compared to Ian Gary. Ian Gary is much more of a I pick you at range kind of fighter, and Shavkat, I feel like that was his worst performance yet, and that was one of Ian Gary's best performances yet, and Shavkat still won. Now, of course, the way he won was boring. Like, I hate cage control fighters winning that way, but he got the job done that way. And I rewatched some of his fights, you know, over the few weeks, and I feel like the way Bilal fights, the moving forward, the constant pressure is going to be a good way for Shavkat to win. Very interesting to see how Bilal does with those takedowns, because I do feel like he's going to get takedowns. But if Shavkat can stuff them, which, you know, he might be able to, because it's not as if Ian Gary got Shavkat down when he took his back. It was just a mad scramble, and Ian Gary ended up on top kind of thing. But anyway, if Shavkat can't stuff them takedowns, it's going to be a long night. Because I do think Shavkat is the better striker. Bilal, good forward, kind of constant pressure. And I'm looking for this, like, that's going to be the fight to make next, probably in March, April, kind of in and around that. And I can't fucking wait for that. It's going to be a banging fight, and you know, chat shit about Bilal Muhammad, but he's going to come in there, he's going to run in his fucking face, and we're going to see what's up with Shavkat in that one. But I'm going to go with fucking Shavkat, okay? I feel like he tore his MCL as well. That's a big talking point. You know, I feel like a lot of things, short notice, opponent change, just few things fucking went kind of south and stuff like that, and he still got the job done. So you got to respect it, and I'm going with Shavkat to end the year as welterweight champ. Middleweight, I'm going with Khamzat Chimaev. Dricus du Plessis is taking on Sean Strickland in a few weeks, and that is one of the most dead fights of all time. No one cares about that. There's absolutely zero hype going into that fight. Rightfully so, because no one asked for it, no one cares. Strickland just sat out crying on Twitter after a fucking terribly shit performance against Paulo Costa, who hasn't won a fight in 2.5 years against someone who, and the person he beat isn't even in the UFC. And who the fuck knows when's the last time he won a fight in the UFC. Anyway, dead fight, no one cares. We all want to see Khamzat versus Dricus. So let's hope Dricus can get through Strickland like I think he will. And we can get this Khamzat fight going, because that is the real fight, okay? Chimaev went in there, fucking ran through Robert Whittaker, which I really didn't expect, okay? I thought Whittaker was going to win that fight, but he just fucking ran through him. And very interesting to see the kind of unorthodox kind of style that Dricus has, how he's going to match up against Chimaev in that fight. I'm going to pick Chimaev in that fight simply because no one's ever ran through Robert Whittaker like that. And if you can run through Rob the way he did, you know, I feel like you can beat anyone in that division, to be quite honest with you. Dricus is so unorthodox and so kind of, not sloppy, but such a weird style that I feel like Chimaev is going to be able to do work on him. I feel like he's going to be able to do work. And I go my Hamzat to win these fights. And, you know, that could be kind of late summer, kind of August, September, in and around there. And then maybe he might fight at the end of the year, but Chimaev's not known for his activity, really. So go my Hamzat Chimaev at the end of the year as middleweight champion. Light heavyweight, I'm going to go pick Ankalaev. Now, a lot of people, I saw Pereira tweeting, or maybe someone saying that it's not Ankalaev next in the Pereira fight, which makes no fucking sense. Okay, they will fight this year, like they will fight this year, and I will be picking Ankalaev in that fight. Okay, he says he's going to stand there with Pereira. He won't do that. He's not that fucking stupid. Okay, and he'll learn real quick not to stand with Pereira. And once he gets Pereira to the ground, I do think he will be able to keep him there, and they could even finish him on the ground. As much as I love Alex Pereira, and his grappling has definitely improved, still kind of is that kind of question about him, like, oh, like, you know, when he does get taken down or when he fights an elite grappler, you know, we are going to see him kind of struggle. And he did struggle in ways against Jan Blachowicz, but he also did well against Jan Blachowicz and showed me, I was like, fucking hell, I didn't expect Pereira to do that well. I picked Jan to beat him in that fight. You know, Pereira has been on an absolute fucking tear, okay? The tear he's been on, I still don't think they possess the same level of threat that Ankalaev's going to bring, because Ankalaev can also strike, okay? He beat Rakic in a striking fight, and I know Rakic isn't exactly amazing, but he's still one of the top light heavyweights. So it's a good win. It's a good win for sure. And considering he was beating Yuri Braska before getting finished as well, it's an honourable mention, you could say. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ankalaev at the end of the year's champ, which would be kind of shit, to be honest with you. If Pantoja, Umar, and Ankalaev were all champ, that'd be just fucking so boring, like, you know what I mean? But this is genuinely what I think. But heavyweight, I'm going Big Tom. Tom Aspinall at the end of the year's champion to knock out John Jones in the summer. This is the dream scenario. They will fight. I do believe they will fight. They're going to get that fight done. When? You know, it could even be late next year, like October, November. They could do that MSG. Like, you don't know when the fuck that fight's going to happen, to be honest. They could do it International Fight Week. Who the fuck knows when that's going to happen, but I believe they're going to get that fight done, and I believe Tom's going to knock him out. And if Tom doesn't knock him out, that would be one of the worst case scenarios I have ever witnessed in the UFC, because fuck having John Jones as champ and riding off and all that. But anyway, I feel like Tom's going to get that one done. And considering we saw Cyril Gane scrape a split decision in a fight that I thought, and 99 out of 100 MMA fans actually thought he lost, there's really no one for Big Tom like that in the actual heavyweight division as a contender that's really going to test this guy and give him a go fight. And we've seen that the last few weeks now, that he's just fucking way ahead of every single one of them. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, man. I'm looking forward to seeing this Jones fight. We'll be shitting it, but I think it's the only fight to make. There's nowhere else to run. There's nowhere else to hide for Jones now. You can't sit there and say this, that, and the fourth, and the Stipe fight. I want to fight Stipe. That's all out the fucking window now, okay? There's only one fight. It's the biggest fight in the UFC, one of the biggest fights in the sport's history, and it's going to be fucking massive, okay? And I'm here for it, and I can't wait. But that's my champions prediction list for the 2025 season. Let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching.